We're recording. Hi, everyone, and welcome. We are going to be having a conversation with the co-founders of the inaugural Black Poly Pride. We have Shanae Kendall Jackson, and we have Cherie Roman, and we are excited to have y'all. This is going to be a blog for National Coalition for Sexual Freedom. We are a sponsor of their first event. And so I'm really excited. Welcome.
Thank you. And thank you for your sponsorship. We appreciate you.
Thank you. And so we're going to start out giving some basic demographics. And so I guess, Cherie, we're going to start with you and offering some basic demographics, or do we want to start with Shanae?
Let Cherie go first.
Let Cherie go first? Okay. Okay.
I'll start it off.
Okay.
So my name is Cherie. Many people, I also go by Calico. I am 28 years old from Philadelphia, Pennsylvania.
Okay.
I am, my relationship orientation, I am currently single and I don't have any titled relationships, and I am bisexual.
Okay. Do you have a kink dynamic with any of your relationships or BDSM?
No, I don't have any kink dynamics currently.
Currently, okay.
Currently, but there's something on the horizon.
So Miss Shanae.
Okay. My name is Shanae Jackson Kendall. I am 32 years old. I am a resident and native of Atlanta, Georgia. I have been non-monogamous for the past decade and openly polyamorous for about 7 or 8 years. I am currently married and in kink dynamics with my husband, my wife, and my girlfriend. I have been in all of my relationships for quite some time. My husband and I have been together for 10 years, non-monogamous for most of that time. My wife and I have been together for 5 years, non-monogamous for all of that time. And my girlfriend and I have been together it will be 4 years in September. And together, my polycule has the most amazing son in the world. So he's all of our primary partner. And I think I am bisexual. And none of my dynamics are closed. So the inbox is always open.
Okay.
I have to put that shameless plug out there in each interview. It's important. I think that's it about me. Did I miss anything?
Okay. Thank y'all so
You didn't
much.
mention me.
I have a work wife. And our relationship is very tumultuous when planning an event. But in my office, we get along swimmingly.
So how long have y'all been work wives?
Well, actually, it's almost our 1-year anniversary.
Okay.
Or did it just pass? We actually were asked to found and moderate a poly group a Black poly group for young people under the age of 35. We were both asked to moderate, and it was just instant chemistry. We work well together. And as we realized that we worked well together, we kind of started building other things, and that's kind of what led us to found Black Poly Pride together.
Okay, thank you. You want to add anything to that blissful relationship?
We definitely have a great work dynamic, but I also believe one of the greatest things about our dynamic is that we have such vastly different lives. That's one of the reasons I think both of us were chosen to moderate that group. Like Shanae said, her background, she's married, I'm single, but we exist in the same age demographic. And so it makes it this dynamic duo almost, where we're bouncing thoughts and ideas off of one another. And so when we create an event, it gives us a broader perspective in order to plan around.
Right, and it's always helpful because we've seen that our basic ideologies are very much the same, but we have arriving
Right.
at the same feelings and same thoughts. So it's been great.
That is a great transition because our next question is around ideology. Okay. So how would you, I guess, define the ideology or paradigm of polyamory? Let's start with Shanae.
So for me, polyamory is definitely a love style. It's a way of life. Um, I I am very big within the community on the fact that polyamory does indeed have a definition. We have a definition. We have a culture. We have norms. And we there are everything that's non-monogamy is not polyamorous, right? So I believe it's a set of ideals, and I genuinely believe that it's a way you live your life, and not just the way that you interact romantically.
Okay.
So I'll say that for sure.
That is real, that is strong. I mean, it's very rare that I actually hear someone call polyamory a culture. Sheree, thoughts?
Um, I think we have very similar perspectives. I definitely consider it to be a love style, a culture, and a community. But I also think of it as an identity, an identifier, because I arrived at this identity of being polyamorous at a very young age, even before I started dating. And so a lot of my self-discovery was through the lens of poly.
Okay. And you mentioned the word norms. Just real quick, can you give us a couple of examples of what you mean by norms within the polyamorous culture?
Well, the reason why I think it's important to say we have norms within our culture is because a lot of times, especially online, people try to pass off anything they want to do as polyamory.
Okay.
And just for an example, I hear people say, "Don't ask, don't tell," is polyamory.
Right.
Um, the definition of polyamory that is widely accepted is that polyamory is the practice, feeling, or desire, or willingness to participate in multiple loving relationships with more than one person, with the consent and knowledge of all involved. And so those are kind of like, I lay it out for people, those are all bullet points
Right.
that your relationships have to scratch off, check off,
Right.
in order to be polyamorous. So our norm, consent is a norm
Right.
inherent in polyamory. Um, you know, transparency is a
Mhm.
norm inherent in polyamory. And so people will say, I can be polyamorous and my spouse doesn't know it. No, you can't.
Right.
You can be a cheater, but you're not a polyamorous.
Yeah, those are some very strong convictions. Have you found that some of the groups that you moderate, because you moderate a group on Facebook, it's a Black poly group. Can you tell me more about that, Sheree? Shanae?
Okay, so I moderate several Black poly groups on Facebook, and also a group for polyamorous moms on Facebook is something that is important to me. I do find that I am often the voice of dissent, but I'm comfortable there. Sheree's voice has joined me, voice of dissent here lately, and it's okay. I think it's important for we're inheriting a community and a culture, and I think that it's important that we stand by the work that has been done by the people who came before us.
Right. Sheree?
Yep. I would agree. I definitely believe that we have, there are many people who have come before us and we are inheriting a community, but I also believe that we are creating a sub-community within because we do have this culture that was essentially created by most people who were coming to polyamory already coupled. And that's something that's different for our age demographic. A lot of people who are in the young Black and poly group who are 35 and under aren't necessarily coming to polyamory as this unit who is looking to uncouple, so to speak.
Right. And I think that's very important. And that's where like the difference between Cherie and I, our differences really help us to better create space. Because although I was coupled when I came to polyamory, we were not yet married. And so when we married polyamorously, right, with our partners at our side, and taking intentional polyamorous vows. So part of something that I'm extremely passionate about is sharing with my peers and those younger than me the fact that embracing polyamory doesn't mean leaving behind other things that you want for your life.
Okay.
It doesn't mean that you can't have the protections of legal marriage. It doesn't mean that you can't be openly and proudly queer. It doesn't mean that you can't have children. And one of the things that I like to speak on a lot is that here in the United States, marriage is a cornerstone of wealth, right?
Right.
So there are a lot of financial advantages that you get. I will proudly say this for my husband. We are legally married for financial reasons. That is, we were together for 5 years before we got married.
Right.
We got married as kind of a public declaration of a private commitment that we had already made. But I want polyamorous people to understand that legalities do not have to prevent you from living polyamorous.
That is excellent point. Excellent point. So, Cherie, I'm going to lead with this question for you. Because you're the moderator of the Young Black and Poly group. Well, both of y'all are moderators.
Yeah.
So
we're both admins of those groups. Yeah.
Okay. And so, what do you feel is going to be necessary or needed for, I guess, a movement to come more into the Young Black and Poly group, like to have it grow more?
I think in order for us to grow more, we have to get offline and get in person. It's one of the biggest things. Anytime people ask me, how do I meet people who are polyamorous? How do I create community? How do I have this tribe of people? And the difference maker for me was you can only do but so much online. We can have a million conversations on threads. We can post pictures and show our lives, but it's so much different than in person than it is online. I mean, I have been to Shanae's home and I've sat on her sofa. And so our relationship has transcended leaps and bounds over the past year because we connected online, but we really grew together in friendship in person. And I think that the community needs that. I think we kind of look to these certain areas and certain places. We all know that Atlanta has become this like polyamorous mecca, and everyone flocks there anytime there's an event.
That is true.
I'm in Philadelphia, and so I have invested thousands of dollars into going to Atlanta and helping that community grow and thrive. And now I'm really interested in seeing how we can grow and thrive the community nationally.
Right. And so, Shanae, in Atlanta, the polyamorous mecca, are there in-person support groups there within your community?
So we actually, that's really one of the things I love about our polyamorous community. We are big online, but we get together constantly, right? So we don't, here in Atlanta, we don't have poly friends, right? Our polyamorous friends are our friends. So when you come to our birthday parties, when you come to our baby showers, when you come to my mama's house, like those are where our polyamorous people show up.
Okay.
So we build real relationships that transcend just this polyamorous bubble. And I think that there's like Cherie said, there's kind of a disconnect between what you can read and see online,
right,
and what you can feel in person. So
yeah.
oftentimes people, my husband is the only man in our polycule, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so that looks very like OPP-ish and Hotep-y.
Right.
But if you
Okay.
spend 5 or 10 minutes in our presence, you
Uh-huh.
realize that that's not the case at all,
Mhm.
right? Those in-person connections are really important. And so Cherie and I are putting our money where our mouth is and investing time, energy, and resources into building community in person. Because I find even that it enriches the strength and color of our online interactions.
Right.
Because now when you see a post, now you can hear that post, right? In
Right,
someone's voice. It's part of why we try to utilize video a
Right.
lot more than just text, because all those nuances of people's personality, it's important to meet in line and in real time to find those
Yeah.
things.
You know,
I felt like that was super important for us when we were planning Black Poly Pride, and we were intentional about not having it where we live.
right.
Our thoughts were, where's our largest demographic? Of course, it was Atlanta, and next was Dallas. Texas, we have a large Dallas community. We have a large Houston community, San Antonio. And you put those numbers together, and every time someone would come in the group from Texas and say, there's no one here. There's no polyamorous people where I live. And I would say, no, there are 95. And I would start listing them.
So you just
Okay. We're going to shift to your event, but I have one more question, and I'm really excited about hearing both of your perspectives on this, which is when people call polyamory a lifestyle. And so, and the backup question to that is, people can sometimes say there's a holy grail way of doing polyamory, or the standard of doing polyamory. So those are two separate questions. Answer however you like. Let's start with Sinead.
As there are two communities that we refer to as the lifestyle, right?
Mhm.
So the kink community is shorthand. The LS, that is shorthand for the kinky community that includes BDSM. Personally, as a member of that community, I don't like the people referring to polyamory as the lifestyle, because it confuses the two.
Right.
The other thing is that the swinger lifestyle is also referred to in that way. And I think it's important to make the distinction between people who are polyamorous and people who are swingers, while also noting that some polyamorous people are swingers. That's why I always remind people that you can have a romantic and asexual polyamorous relationships.
Mhm.
Polyamory isn't about sex, right?
Right.
Swinging is about sex.
Right.
BDSM is not necessarily about sex, right?
Mhm.
So
Right.
all gentle nuances. That's why I use and advocate the use of the word love style, because as I stated before, I think it really, I know for me, being polyamorous affects the way I raise my child. It affects the way that I manage my friendships. It affects the way that I interact at work, the way that I interact with my family. So it's more pervasive than just how I interact romantically or sexually. So I think that love style exemplifies my feelings, and I correct people when they say lifestyle.
Oh, amen. No. Cherie?
I believe that also another thing is that calling polyamory a love style does our community a disservice, especially when it comes to new people who are coming into the community, because oftentimes lifestyle means that everyone is doing this the same way. And that's just absolutely not true. And so, of course, this may lead into the next question about this holy grail dynamic. When we have new people who are entering into our community and everyone comes in and they want their relationship to look like something they saw on TV or that they read about in a book. And they come and they start to learn more about polyamory and they're like, this isn't what I signed up for. Mm-hmm. They're oftentimes confused because they're looking for partners, they're looking for people to date, and they want to fit them into this box that they were promised through this lifestyle.
Right.
And that's the reason that it doesn't work is because it's not a lifestyle. Right. It is a way of life.
Right. Nice. Well said. Well, both of you, well said. This is going to be the new more than two. This entire video.
A Black Girl's Guide to Polyamory coming 2021.
Yes. Is it 2020 or 2021? Yes, please. Okay, so now this beautiful event you have coming up. What inspired y'all to start this event or co-found it? You can either one of you can take this.
You want to tell our conception story, Cherie?
Certainly. So Shanae and I, we are admins of 2 Black and Poly groups. And when we started Young Black and Poly, it was very interesting that almost immediately, I think we were at perhaps 500 members, we started to receive inboxes from different people who are holding conferences to come to their conferences and host classes about Black polyamorous people, how to have a Black partner. There were various asks, and they were asking for free labor from us, essentially. And it was very interesting and honestly offensive because they were asking, hey, can you come to this predominantly white conference and teach us how to love Black people or at least treat them as humans? That was the ask. Seriously. And so Shanae and I were already hosting various meetups, and we really wanted to come to Dallas and meet up with the community there. And really it grew from having a frustration of our members wanting to go to a conference, but us not having any space that we felt safe recommending.
Right. Absolutely.
For them to go to.
And so then we happened on Poly Dallas Millennium, right? So
hey.
We found out about Poly Dallas Millennium when all our friends were there last year, and we felt super left out, and like we have to go next year.
Yeah.
Plans to attend PDM in 2019, and I made a very personal goal that I think I only share with my partners, that I wanted to present at the conference, right? And so I think I shared with Cherie as well that I wanted to do that. And so we started planning. We said, we had kind of planned like a host of events throughout the summer. And we were like, hey, let's do a pool party in Dallas on the Saturday p.m. Like after everyone does their conference stuff, let's have a pool party. It'll be cool, right? So we were like, everyone, bring people to Poly Dallas Millennium. We can everybody, it'll be full of Black people in the city anyway. It was a perfect plan.
I'm about to cry.
Yes.
What happen.
Yeah.
And then I got an inbox.
Yeah.
From one of the other members of the Black Poly Pride admin team. Sharita inboxed me and she says, PDM isn't happening this year. It's been canceled and we're just planning for 2020. So then we have the question of, okay. So Sharita was like, well, let's just have the party anyway. let's just go to Dallas and throw a pool party. And so we were like, okay, cool, we're gonna throw this pool party. Anybody who knows Sheree and I in person knows that we are extra as fuck.
Yeah.
And so it was like, at first Sheree wasn't like, okay, so if we're gonna do the party, maybe we do like a brunch the next day. And then we were like, well, if people are gonna be in town, maybe we should have like a little workshop or something, you know.
Okay.
Literally all of those like conversations that happen at 9 p.m. after Sheree's first nap. And before her 11 p.m. bedtime. No, really, we have our relationship is very structured, right? Because my son goes to bed between 8:30 and 9, and she wakes up from her after work nap. And then at 11 o'clock, she turns into a pumpkin. So we have to get all of our conversations between 9 and 11.
Okay.
So we kept talking about what to do with this weekend that had opened up because, PDM was not going to be until 2020. And Black Poly Pride arose from our thought process. It has just become this huge thing. And I think Sheree will definitely agree with me when we say like every step that we take towards this conference feels like us walking deeper into our purpose. Just flowing, right? Like it's just our community is affirming us that this is something that needs to happen.
Yes.
That we are it's important to have this space to specifically talk about to show our pride in both our racial identity and also our lifestyle. So that kind of leads us to the theme for our inaugural Black Poly Pride. Co-founder, you want to let them in on the theme? You want me to do it?
I was so entranced. I want you to tell them.
Okay. So the theme for 2019's Black Poly Pride is making our own table.
Yes.
And that comes from the idea that we are no longer putting our time, energy, or resources into begging for scraps at the table of white polyamory. We're no longer going to be pigeonholed into only talking about inclusion and only talking about racial topics. We will be recognized as polyamorous experts in our own right, and we will create a safe space for people who look like us to have conversations about how our culture informs our lifestyle. So we're making our own table, and we're inviting you guys, everyone, to take a seat.
I love you.
And
Go ahead.
I wanted to add on that I think it will be transformative and life affirming for people to attend a conference where we are having the necessary conversations for our community. Because the truth is that we can read all of the books and the blogs and the literature, but there's such a difference sitting in a room and sharing space with people who look like you, who come from where you come from, who have stripped off the similar layers that you had to strip off, and to bare your soul and share space and commune with them. So I am just super, super excited about attending a conference with melanated people.
Absolutely. Hot damn. Okay. I'm all excited. I lost my train of thought. I have all these questions laid out. And so I'm just going to piggyback off of what y'all have just said and go with, I guess, the needs, wants, and desires, right? And I know that you have some awesome people lined up to come into Dallas for your inaugural event. And so I know that y'all are going to be addressing certain things that the community needs and desires. And so can you tell either one of you about some of the speakers you have coming in and what they're going to be talking about?
I'll go first.
Okay.
I am happy that Black Poly Pride will be hosting not just a big voice of Black polyamory, but one of my close friends, Avita Sawyers, will be joining us at Black Poly Pride. She and I are preparing a class together. So it's a workshop that you don't want to miss. It's entitled Your Meta Don't Owe You Shit. A guide to peaceful metaships.
Okay.
And she will be participating in a couple of panels and doing some hosting throughout the event. So we're super excited to welcome her. And Sheree, you want to tell everybody else about who else we'll have?
Certainly. So we have the author of Love is Not Colorblind. He's coming. Kevin Patterson, and he is hosting a class that I am super excited about, and it's called You Let Her Do What? It's an examination of polyamory and masculinity, and I feel like it is such a necessary conversation that needs to be had in our community. Oftentimes, we, especially in the Black and poly groups, we have an abundance of women with very loud voices and large presence, and it's important for us to take up space. But oftentimes I feel like we want to hear what's going on with the men. You know, what are they thinking, and also what conversations do they need to have with one another.
Right. And I'm I'm really excited to see Kevin do this workshop, because I've seen him do it before, but it was in white spaces. And so there was a lot of defining going on for him, which took up a big piece of his presentation. So I'm thoroughly excited also to actually see him come in with the 3.0 version and do this workshop. So, and also Avita, I'm excited about that. Who else do you have?
So we'll be having some educators from the local Dallas community coming in. So the admin team of Coffee and Hose will have Sharita Marie and JLS, who both presented at Poly Dallas Millennium last year. They'll be gracing us with their presence. And we're also are going to be featuring you in one of our conversations. We're going to talk about Black mental health and the importance of polyamorous people taking care of their own mental health in order to be healthy and happy within their partnerships.
Right. And I think it's awesome that you're bringing the mental health conversation in to this event, because I just think that is evolved, to say the least. So what inspired y'all? Go ahead, Shanae, you were going to say something.
I will say that I think that is one of the things that our generation has to give to the older generation of polyamory. I think we are growing up in a therapy affirming space, right? So our 20 to 35-year-olds, we go to therapy, right? So I think that the data would support that we are taking care of our mental health much better than our parents have, and really the reason why is because when you have parents and a generation ahead of you who didn't take care of their mental health, then you have issues that require you to take care of yourself.
Right.
That's what happens. And so therapy is something, I have friends who are therapists. Me and the members of my polycule regularly go to therapy, and not just to put out fires, but to kind of stoke the fire and to maintain a sense of normalcy and health. And that's something that the older generations, I think there's a stigma attached to going to
Right.
therapy. And for this kind of multi-relating, for this complicated love style that we're blessed to be a part of, I would bet my favorite pair of shoes, they're Vince Camutos, and I just got them for my birthday, that therapy is one of the defining factors in whether a polyamorous relationship lasts or not. So that's something that I personally want that is a personal thing that I want to promote.
Thank you for helping my practice. I greatly appreciate it because I agree. Cherie, you have anything you want to add to that?
I think one of the important conversations that I love to talk about is the importance of the self journey when it comes to polyamory, because I feel like that gets lost a lot when we are talking about multi-relating. And that is why therapy is also really important, because we talk about couples therapy, but also going to therapy for yourself, not just for your relationship, but also when we are coming from backgrounds that, you know, we're living we're living and loving in a different way than what our upbringing taught us. And so there are a lot of things layers that we have to peel back. Even the society that we exist in as Black people who are choosing to live in a different community and culture. So definitely seeking therapy and just tribe who also believe that mental health is important.
Right.
I think it's so important to have partners and friends that you can say, I'm not having a good mental health day. Like that you can just have that conversation and that they know what to do, right?
Right.
So I jokingly say, I'm not having a good mental health day, send chicken, right?
Right.
But my friends know that I'm serious. And I mean, like, they show up with chicken, Uber Eats shows up with chicken. Like, it is a conversation that we can have where I can say my anxiety is getting the best of me today.
Right.
And so that kind of open communication with our communities and our partners is important.
Right. And is that something, because one of the questions that I have is, what can our older generations learn from our younger generations? And you mentioned therapy affirming and, you know, discovering of self and communicating about mental health just with your partners. Is there anything else that you can think of that sticks out?
Well, I would say, and this is what I say when I find myself, two of my partners and most of my friends are actually older than me.
Okay.
And what I always tell them when they're having a relationship problem, or when they're trying to approach polyamory, sometimes they try to approach polyamory in a very mononormative way. I always ask them, I say, do you want your parents' relationship? And of course, the answer for, like, my parents have been married for over 40 years, right? They're very Christian and very heteronormative and very mononormative, and I don't want their relationship, right? I admire it, but don't desire it for myself. So I tell them, if you don't want your parents' relationship, stop doing things the way they did. Right? And so I think that the older generation has to embrace this stripping away of everything they knew to be correct. And really co-creating relationships that work for their goal, right? It's okay to say, these are my relationship ideals. And so work backwards and figure out, how do I arrive at that place?
Right. And so we have like 10 minutes left that will be 50 minutes. And so there's a couple of things that I want to make sure and hit, which is that this event has a lot of celebration, within it. So can you tell the group about some of the parties?
Oh my goodness, the parties. So, as we said, Shanae and I are extra, and we love to have a good time. Something that I'm very excited about with this event is definitely the pool party because it is Dallas in July. Just being honest, I can't wait. We're bringing an unapologetically Black pool party. So we are going to be out there in all of our melanated glory, and it's going to be a Black event, a body positive event, and just a really good time. So that's one of the turn up events. I think Shanae, maybe she could tell you about the bar crawl that's happening with Coffee and Hose hosting that.
Right. So we are kicking off the weekend with a party. So we're gonna have Fun and Sexy Mixer on one of Dallas's tops. So we're gonna kind of kick it off and show you what to expect from us. So that'll be Thursday night. So that means take your half days now, people. You want to arrive in Dallas before 8 p.m. on Thursday night. And then on Friday, Coffee and Hose, which is a local Dallas-Fort Worth sex positive, non-monogamous group, is going to be hosting the Hoedown Bar Crawl. And so we will be donning our best Western wear.
I knew it.
We will be donning our, doing your best impression of a cowgirl or a cowboy, and hitting a couple of bars and doing some team building and really getting to know the people that you don't know.
Right.
Some intentional community building on that bar crawl. My co-founder told you about the big party, the Saturday night party. So and then Sunday, of course, we have to end everything the way we begin it. So after a bunch of conversations on Sunday, we will be having a day party to party until everybody has to get on the plane and go home.
Right.
But it's also important for me to mention that we have some VIP parties that are only open to our Black Card members. And so our Black Card is an all access pass for the weekend. So we're going to be hosting a midnight masquerade play party on Friday for anyone who is kinky or kink friendly or is just a voyeur. That will be available to you. And then on Saturday, after the pool party, our Black Card members will be invited to an ABC, which is anything but clothes party. And our Black Card members will also get luxury accommodation. So we're going to get transportation to and from the pool party so that you can, drink and lounge to your heart's content. So this is not just about community, it's about community building, right? We're trying to take a dual approach. We want to be both a social and learning and growing together. We want to really kind of blow off steam at the end of the day. And we know some of Sharia and I's best memories together have been built on the dance floor. So we are inviting everyone to join us on the dance floor or in the Texas pool and make those memories.
Okay, so how can folks find out about the Black Card and getting theirs and registration and accommodations, all of that?
Sheree?
So you can find out all about the event at www.blackpolypride.com. We have links to our ticket bud, which will have our list for the Black Card and all of our other events. You can also find out any of the questions you may have. We have a frequently asked questions page, and you can learn more about our panelists there as well. We're also on Facebook. You can look us up at Black Poly Pride.
We are on Twitter at Black Poly Pride. And you can also find either Cherie or I on Facebook. We're really active and visible moderators in the Black and Poly group and the Young Black and Poly group. And you can send us an email if you have direct questions at blackpolypride@gmail.com.
Okay.
And I've just decided to honor our sponsors, the National Coalition for Sexual Freedom, I'm going to be providing a special NCSF discount code. So Ruby will post that in conjunction with this blog. So if you heard about the conference here and you want to join, there will be a discount code available for you.
Oh, thank you so much. Thank you. That's awesome. That is really awesome. So there's also one more question. This is an impromptu kind of fire question where you'll have 30 seconds to answer a series of questions that I'm going to toss out.
You go first.
Who do you want to go first?
Me? Just throw me under the bus. Okay.
So I am turning on my stopwatch. And so and so
it's hot. It just got hot in here.
Is that hot?
It got hot.
Okay. So I'm about to start. Are you ready, Cherie?
I think so. As ready as I'll ever be.
Okay. Just as quick as you can, right? Okay. What is the wildest sexual adventure you've had?
So wildest sexual, wow. Okay, I have had a foursome on a balcony in Mexico.
Okay. What is your favorite thing about polyamory?
The freedom.
Okay. What is the biggest pitfall you had early on in polyamory?
Not staying true to myself and multiple relating.
That was 3 questions. Very good. And yours are going to be totally different, by the way. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
Okay. So, how many partners do you have? Quick now.
3.
Okay. How many metas do you have?
1.
Okay. So, what is your wildest sexual experience?
I had sex with all of my partners in one day, and at that time I had 5 partners.
You get it. Both of y'all get it. Okay. And
none of them, only one was a threesome.
Okay. I had to stop the clock. One last question. So what is the greatest success that you've had in polyamory? When I say success, what you've learned the most?
I have learned how important friendship is. I have built some of the most amazing friendships of my life. I've learned what love looks like in action, and not just what people say it is. So I have experienced love that transcends romance, that transcends friendship. I've really learned what love is.
Thank you. That was some great responses, y'all. So just one more time, what hotel, what are the dates, and website one more time?
Okay, so we are hosting Black Poly Pride in downtown Dallas East. Our host hotel is the Element in downtown Dallas East. You can find all these details at www.blackpolypride.com. We'll be kicking off things July 11th, and we're leaving the city on July 14th. We are looking forward to meeting you there.
Cherie, closing words?
I can't wait to see everyone there, and we love you all. Thank you.
Thank you so much for your time, and I look forward to meeting y'all all in person. Cherie in Philadelphia this week, and I'm going to
Yes.
All right. I'm going to stop recording.
She's jealous. She's jealous. We'll